burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left. Huh. So if a rope meant to hold something was made with that kind of material in it, then that means... Wait, why don't you write all this down? Let's take notes.
The seats were all booked in advance, so we were able to deduce the missing woman's identity by checking the guest list. Sure, it's not like this is confidential information. We will publish it later anyway when we petition the public to help us find the missing person. Her name is Halsey. She's a painter from Fontaine who's made a bit of a name for herself. Apparently, she wasn't a regular at the Opera House, but she'd been feeling some pressure with her work lately, which made her decide to come see the magic show. The magic troupe members all claim not to know her. We have looked into her social connections. It seems that she has no personal grievances or conflicts of interest with the suspects. Simply put, she wasn't related to the magic troupe at all, which matches the features of the previous serial disappearances.
Were the victims of previous cases also chosen at random?
That's how it seems to us, in any case. Apart from the fact that they were all young women of around the same age range, there really weren't any other connections between them.
Okay then.
No need to be so formal. If you do happen to see the missing girl, please be sure to contact us. It is of utmost importance that we get to the bottom of these disappearances.
I see that you're if you find any...
We don't have too... The thud?
Yes, exactly. It's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Lenny's trick with bated breath. I'm of the opinion that when the pirate...
Wait, was...
Perhaps the balance wasn't... Oh, that's true.
That does...
Go ahead, have a look around.
The investigation team has some new...
See, I told you.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Lenny and Lynette with their side of the investigation.
You're trying to help them? That'll be a tall order.
Lenny used the machine to pick a random... member of the audience. Well...
It turns out, I'm sure you already... In other words...
That much...
Bet you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Lynn.
still talking to the... I think someone will be assigned...
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here! I've been keeping an eye on you for a while now.
Huh? You mean us?
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns and pursue the truth. No? And by the looks of it, you're not from Fontaine.
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
Have you never heard of the Spina di Rosula? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it, Spina di Rosula does it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus. Demoiselle's various daily needs and affairs are under my purview.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle? What gives with the names?
Well, I am the second generation president. Melus and the...
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to use that instead.
No need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Navia is fine.
Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina di Rosula.
All merely trifling details. Never mind. Now, back to the situation at hand. That's right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases. My interest stems from a matter back from my father's time. Judging from the look of things, I find Linny an unlikely mastermind.
Really? We think so too! That's why we're looking for clues now. But how did you come to that conclusion?
Intuition, naturally. My unparalleled intuition. Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Linny without any decisive evidence whatsoever, wasn't she? But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the Justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges just to keep her from getting carried away. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina was going to back down in that situation.
Sounds more like you just don't trust the Hydro Archon.
Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times, but liking her doesn't mean that I'll blindly agree with her. All right, I've answered your question. Now, it's time you answer mine.
Wait a minute! Did that answer count?
Well, I say it does. But don't worry, you won't hear any pointless questions from me. In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an opera?
Well?
And why would that be? See, Silver and Melus? I told you they'd be different.
Most astute of you, Demoiselle. I, too, think that the Traveler's response was most excellent. No matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be, the trials that go on stage here must be based in fact. And if that can be done, boss, then...
All right, that's quite enough, Melus. Anyway, I like your answer. You passed with flying colors. Now, I need to make some preparations, following which our joint investigation shall commence. You two shall be my assistants.
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
Oh, well, I can be the assistant, sure. Or your companion, if you like. I'm really not that fussy.
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be instrumental in uncovering the truth. You wish to save a friend from false accusations, and we wish to unravel the disappearances. In this sense, our goals are aligned.
You have a point. Huh. You're quite the talker, aren't you, mister? And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got something on your mind.
I have nothing to add.
Oh, alrighty then.
We'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let us know if they start revealing Linny's tricks. Thanks!
Sorry, but no one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish to leave, you must register your identity with us first.
No, we're not leaving. We're representing Linny and Lynette as attorneys, so we're investigating the case. Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes, after the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in or out must undergo a strict inspection. So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here, at least not from that point on. I doubt there was much opportunity then, either.
How can you be so sure,
Well, because I was in charge of security near the entrance at that time. I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. Just my luck. But still, I did not abandon my post, and I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. If someone had so much as even approached the door, I would have noticed it, let alone if they had tried to leave. We Melusines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl couldn't have left through here. Alright, thank you for your help. This'll be useful. We've checked everything of note here at the performance venue. Paimon wonders how Linny's discussion with the guards is going. Let's go see, shall we? Ooh, things are getting interesting, huh? We're about...
Understood. Then I will be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be monitoring your actions and making notes as necessary.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift for you if I could.
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm just doing my job.
You've arrived. Who's this?
Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian angel. If you've got a problem, I've got the firepower. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Call me Navia. I'm a partner of theirs, and will be helping investigate this whole situation. And these are my companions. Would you mind if they join as well?
Fine by me.
Oh, new helpers? I would be most grateful.
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic performed on such a large scale.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box, prepared specifically for this switcheroo trick. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used to perform it more easily.
Weren't there
balloons and other decorations here?
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
The back? You mean the inside of the door? What's different about it? Paimon didn't notice anything.
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that, given that you were sitting in the first row. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly. All right, let's go. I'll tell you how it works as we head down.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box!
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon as you saw the 2 magic boxes are positioned right. See this? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right...
I see. So that's the purpose.
Precisely. The inner box would...
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some...
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you even came out for a moment near the...
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the opposite box via a tunnel using that ladder.
And what about Lynette? Where was she?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting!
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And, by the way, I was the one who walked out of the box at the end.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So that's how it all worked! Wow, every detail you revealed was more amazing than the last!
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending. And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. I probably never would have figured out how you pulled it off. And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick to commit a crime. Could we have a look around? I think we can come up with some more leads.
This is the scene of the crime, so Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here. I'll escort them back up.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't disappear into thin air, you know.
Thanks, everyone. We're counting on you.
What's this?
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh?
Perhaps it was a prop for a different trick. But why would it have been left here?
Whatever it is, let's make a note of it first.
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Speaking of which, why would there be water here?
Oh, Paimon knows! It's one of those tricks where you pour water into a jug and then flip the jug over only for the water to disappear. And here's a broken vase. Huh.
That can't be. Oh, these are the clothes that the lady. Her clothes are here, but she's nowhere.
Right. And do you? Ugh, this is so confusing. Paimon doesn't want to be a detective anymore. What is this place?
It seems someone could fit through here.
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with them, this space...
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right. Let Paimon Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Yes, let's head back up. Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime scene. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns. It seems to me that there are several things that don't add up here.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal list?
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the vent leads to the Opera House's basement. The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance or after the incident, and no one was found hiding there.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then. You know, like the kind you usually see in novels.
The plot thickens. Halsey's disappearance and Cowell's death are both quite inexplicable. No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation.
In other words, the charges are very likely...
Charges and then trial. So if the charges are...
That's right. This is how a trial goes. That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, and even the audience's emotions will all be projected on the oratrice. To put it simply, it's as if the oratrice has its own will, and is a judge in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this has ever happened anyway.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This, too, will be used by the oratrice as a reference. Then, finally, the oratrice will be consulted by officials. The result it returns is the will of justice itself.
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? Paimon thought Neverlet called the shots.
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment. Which is why people have great faith in the Chief Justice. Yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to leave this place before the trial.
Huh? Why?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the case.
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties, or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case. And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information about the case ahead of time.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa, whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point. That said, are they providing food?
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is any guarantee of balanced nutrition.
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to try some of Fontaine's famous desserts, too. I mean, what better way to properly think through our findings than over some tea and sweets?
Huh. Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after all. Just kidding, just kidding. Paimon will still do her best, even if there are no snacks.
What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy some, then we'll simply make some.
Huh? Here? But how?
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come.
Wait, you're carrying a portable stove with you?
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancy strikes her.
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight for a moment. You'll get to taste my awesome...
These three are quite the interesting group. And Paimon thought it smelled good while it was still in the oven! Oh, it's even better now. Paimon can't stop drooling. From the way you had these two guys carrying all that stuff around, Paimon thought you'd have them do more during the baking process, but you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself! Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds, everything!
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Paimon was just thinking, aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty, beating egg whites and baking like this?
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just really enjoy making snacks. Don't underestimate beating egg whites, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency, or your macarons will crack. Anyway, give these a try, fresh out of the oven. There's 3 for each of us.
Only 3?
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head. You wouldn't be able to think clearly about the case on a sugar rush, would you?
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is no need for concern. I'm merely doing as I should.
All right then. Down to business. As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnel seems to be something of a secret chamber. However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical motive.
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel, resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing...
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble...
True. None of the clues we found thus far, but the only...
Could Halsey have secretly made modifications?
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would... Nor does she have any motive. The guard...
Were we not... From the sound of things, this is turning... Your macarons are
They are my...
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3, honest!
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
No! Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides, Paimon if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? How could you? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach!
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. No big deal. Malus, set up the stove again if you...
Huh?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
Well, this really is your hobby, huh?
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area. I don't know what we're looking for. It would be awkward if you got...
All right, thanks for your help.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything.
All right, it's time to put our heads together. What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and... Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed. Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that, you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call up...
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly...
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales.
Well then, ladies, of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that one. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure that... The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Linny, why didn't you tell us this before?
Order! Order! Mr. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the... Are these claims... Please answer my...
I'm sorry. Yes, they're...
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary?
The defendant deceived their own...
Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn.
So you would stick in that case, my dear...
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Travel.
Yeah.
Paimon just knew where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guy. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, you met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this...
Sorry. Please, forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Alright, let's hear your answer first, and no lie.
Of course. I'll answer any We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about... Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay,
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh?
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
Ugh, that took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown when the flatbed trolley passed, he did not realize that finally he used the at this time. So Linney proceeded afterward. And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objection?
The key to refuting. Seems that... According to Linney... Linney went to the room... Linney didn't...
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linney did indeed go into the tunnel, but he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent! Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Oh, wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around. Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you... Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box... You're saying that he wasn't?
That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played. To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The deceased's name is Cap.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so?
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator. No one entered or left the... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have come from a Linny was not in the tunnel at... It would have been tough for both people to... Halsey's clothing... The sound we heard may have come... The deceased's name is Cowell. Halsey's clothing... No one entered or left the... It would have been tough for both... No one entered or left...
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still...
I see how it is.
Look, since we're at a dead end, just like the trick is it
If only we knew how Halsey...
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel... And it's not like this this is a magic trick where you can just make a
Excuse.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Lenny was not in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have... The deceased's name is... The vase was not...
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped! Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be
How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're taught. Must we really? I should think magic tricks are ultimate.
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't...
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step...
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be... We discovered several test tubes of fluid within... The notebook in his backpack claimed...
The primordial...
The note's contents also indicate the notebook has many... One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact,
You've got to be kidding! People...
But something so ridiculous actually...
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tanks... Just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your...
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! Still, let us guards. Mr. Linney.
Of course. If we uphold this...
Right! Like the metal hut! Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that.
The deceased's name is... Lynette was in the magic box. I remember there was... Lynette was in the magic box on stage. The water from the primordial sea. Now it seems like the hook rope was... The rope that strung the... Now it seems like the hook rope was... The rope that strung the water tank. Lynette was in the magic box. The water from the primordial... Lynette was in the magic box. The rope that strung the water... Lynette was in the magic box. Now it seems like the hook rope... I remember there was some... Now it seems like the hook... I remember there was some... The water from the primordials... The rope that strung the... I remember there was some...
It's in the original plan. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would return. When the balloon attached to the box afterward, Cowl would but
Huh.
That actually links.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I...
Now, it seems like his notes mentioned he had an accomplice.
On that note, I shall now invite him.
Thank you, Your Honor. And we found...
What?
That can't be. Does this not, my dears? Lenny did not need, having made modification that upon his... Ultimately, he not now as much. Am I right?
We've used up all the evidence. Is this the end?
Oh no.
Seems I think we've all... I believe this is indeed... Now then, my good. Excuse me, everyone.
Miss, I must...
Oh, come on. I'll show you an amazing trick. What?
No offense, miss.
Come on now, don't be silly. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth? And wouldn't such a trick... Come on, Lenny. But, as the magic makers and stars of the...
I understand.
And voila.
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Lenny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught, but I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then he even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was on to me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costume. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now.
This time, we need to tell the entire... The strange sound... The flower be... Lillian...
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowl leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was mistakenly believing that the two broke the flower vase during the with no way of escaping. She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward, so...
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light!
Ah, so that's...
Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina. Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Oh.
What? Are you reading my... No. I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dig...
Wow! Look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall... The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused...
Hooray, Linny and Lynette! Amazing!
While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final... As such, Linny and Lynette...
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve... How did you find the water?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's note... I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn your...
I was just following... We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability. Therefore, you would be wise...
Yes! Our boss discovered that it can also be made into a potion, which, when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Lenny.
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you do, but still. Let me thank you again for defending me to the end, I guess. I didn't approach you with any As for why that was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I, to survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded... To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular. And we could at least, before long,
So you went from orphan...
That was how we felt at first, too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that he would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to...
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless.
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion. All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood.
So, she'd already taken...
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, I mean, the Knave, might have seen something in me, and so... The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving...
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the Knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always defend our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at the...
It's all right. I understand. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my...
Bye, Linny!